All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to completely dismantle that chaotic, modern myth of what it actually means to optimize your life. We hear this buzzword literally everywhere, right? But today, we're stepping away from the typical self-help noise to break down the actual hard science of living better every single day. Let's dive in.
So, what does it actually mean to optimize your life? It really forces us to take a step back and ask, does true optimization actually mean just doing more things? Or is that just a really well-packaged illusion we've all been sold?
Think about the classic illusions of optimization we see online. Waking up at 5 a.m. on the dot every day, obsessively tracking every single calorie you consume, or chasing productivity like it's some sort of intense competition. We see people doing all these exhausting things, looking completely optimized on paper, yet they're still totally overwhelmed, highly distracted, and quietly unfulfilled. Because, if we're being completely honest here, this version of optimization, it's really just survival mode with extra steps.
Real optimization is actually about alignment. So today, we are going to break down these 6 actionable pillars to move you from that survival mode to genuine progress. Social fitness, your operating system, deep focus, financial systems, identity shifts, and finally, extreme ownership.
Starting right off with Pillar 1, social fitness. And let me tell you, this is arguably the most underrated superpower you have.
Okay, so you're probably looking at this massive number and wondering what it means. Well, 80 represents the 80-plus years of the Harvard study of adult development. This is literally one of the longest continuous studies ever done on human life. They tracked brain scans, they pored over health records, and collected decades of data, all to find the absolute secret to a good life.
And here is the beautiful, simple conclusion of all that data. Good relationships are the strongest predictor of long life and happiness. Think about that for a second. Not your bank account, not your status, wealth, and even physical fitness completely pale in comparison to the sheer power of human connection. To put that into perspective, look at this contrast. You've got an elderly person who is super physically fit but completely alone, versus someone who might be slightly unhealthy but is absolutely surrounded by people who love them. Who survives longer? The data shows the connected person does, because loneliness is biologically dangerous. It actually increases stress hormones, raises your blood pressure, weakens immunity, and accelerates brain aging, which means you have to train your relationships just like you'd train your muscles. Call your friends even when it's inconvenient, resolve your conflicts early, and seriously, put your phone away so you can be fully present.
All right, moving on to Pillar 2, your operating system. You've got to realize that your body is not just a vessel you drag around all day.
Let's start with something incredibly simple, your morning biology. If you wake up and immediately start your phone, you're telling your brain to stay in passive mode. But if you follow these 4 simple steps, you wake up, step outside for just 5 minutes, let that natural sunlight hit your eyes, and then eat a protein-rich breakfast, you are sending a massive signal to your brain. It stabilizes your hormones, raises your energy naturally without needing that extra cup of coffee, and sharpens your focus right out of the gate.
It's wild because crashing at 10 a.m. isn't a lack of discipline. Actually, it's a lack of biological alignment. Think about it. A sugary breakfast gives you blood sugar instability, huge energy spikes, and then those awful early crashes. But a protein breakfast? That gives you stable energy, sharp focus, and heavily reduced cravings. It's a night and day difference.
And hey, we absolutely cannot talk about your biology without talking about rest. Sleep is literally the ultimate performance enhancer. Just one bad night of sleep slows your brain down, worsens your reaction time, and completely ruins your decision-making. But one good night, everything levels up. It just reinforces this core idea. You don't need to hunt for more motivation. You probably just need better biology.
Okay, let's jump to Pillar 3, deep focus. This is hands down the rarest resource in modern life. We live in a world aggressively designed to steal your attention. But high performers, they aren't doing more things, they're doing fewer things with far deeper focus. Imagine these 2 scenarios. Studying for 3 whole hours, but checking your phone every 5 minutes, versus studying for just 90 minutes, but with the phone completely off in deep focus. The 90-minute person wins every single time. Why? Because the human brain simply is not built for constant switching.
So how do we actually build this? Implementing these specific focus rules is no longer just a soft skill, it is a hardcore competitive advantage. You need to work in 60 to 90-minute deep focus blocks. You've got to take intentional breaks, and no, scrolling on your phone absolutely does not count as a break. And you must eliminate multitasking. It's a total performance killer.
Next up is Pillar 4, financial systems, because real freedom is built, it's not just earned.
There is a massive structural contrast here. Think about trading time for money, like a highly paid doctor working 12-hour shifts. Sure, the income is great, but there's a hard ceiling because your time is strictly limited. The real transition you want to make is towards building systems. Things like businesses, investments, or digital products that generate money for you completely independently of your time.
It boils down to a principle that's incredibly simple, yet so heavily overlooked. Assets put money into your pocket, liabilities take money out of your pocket. The more your life is supported by assets instead of liabilities, the more mental and financial freedom you're going to gain to focus on what actually matters to you.
All right, shifting from our external resources to our internal psychology, we hit Pillar 5 identity shifts. This is all about shaping your actual results.
Your identity dictates your outcome far more than your baseline ability or whatever resources you started with. You rarely outperform how you see yourself. I mean, let that sink in for a second. It is one of the most vital truths you can ever internalize.
Two people can start the exact same journey with the exact same tools. The one whose identity says, I'm not good at this, well, they give up early. But the one who says, I can learn this, they improve, they adapt, and they grow. The outcomes are wildly different, not because of raw talent, but because of identity. And remember, you change that identity through the evidence of small daily wins and consistent discipline, not just fleeting bursts of motivation.
Which brings us to our final climactic pillar. Pillar 6, extreme ownership. This is the turning point for everything.
Most people live their entire lives in reaction mode. They're constantly asking, why is this happening to me? But high performers? They ask a completely different question. What is my role in this? When you shift from blaming the economy for your finances to asking yourself what skills and systems you're currently missing, you instantly take back complete control. Because when everything is someone else's fault, nothing is in their control. Ownership is where your power begins. So bringing it all together, optimization is about alignment, it is not about perfection. When your relationships, your biology, your focus, your finances, and your identity are all taking extreme ownership, life stops feeling like this chaotic survival mission. It stops being about waking up at 5 a.m. just to be exhausted all day. Instead, it starts feeling like continuous, meaningful progress.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final provocative question to really chew on. Are you just trying to be busy, or are you actually building a life to thrive? Because at the end of the day, you don't need to do absolutely everything. You just need to align the right things. Stop chasing the illusion and start building these pillars. Thanks so much for joining me today.